happy holidays from Los Angeles. Basketball on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Jeep. Final non-conference game of the season for the USC Trojans on a 3-game winning streak, taking on the Southern Jaguars out of the SWAC. And thanks so much for joining us inside the Galen Center alongside Seth Davis, AJ Cannell. Seth, there's a lot to like.
And we'll see how it goes today. Glad to be with you, partner. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everyone watching and listening as USC takes the opening tip and fell in the arms of St. Thomas. And there's an immediate clock issue.
Good.
I sure hope that that's not the case.
Yes.
Today, as the Trojans struggle to inbound this ball, Southern's going to play hard. They're going to pressure. They're going to gamble defensively. Some dribble weave action leads to a touch for Cohen. On the cut, Claude. Cohen thought he made it. He fist pumped behind the...
This game, he said, our cuts have to be really good because Southern is a really good cutting team. Desmond.
What do you think Coach Muss is trying to accomplish here other than just win games in year one?
You kind of get a mulligan, especially in this portalized era. And wherever he's been, including as a professional coach, he's been very good at refashioning his roster. So he's good at making things up on the fly.
Portal has been a strength for Eric Musselman for a long time before it got cool. As Jordan Johnson to the corner. Tesino wearing a mask today. Derek Tesino, that's new, the Stephen F. Austin transfer. It's tipped out, offensive rebound for Jordan Johnson. Tesino loses it. He's first to the floor for it, and
they're not really good at stopping the ball, so he's brought his defense more to the three-point line. You don't get as many steals that way, but then you don't get blow-bys, and then there's Claude from behind.
Claude earns himself a steal there for the Trojans. Cohen is fouled and finishes.
Nice job by Josh Cohen. Came out ready to play.
Already the second foul on Joe Manning. And remember, Southern is down some guard depth with Dejan Damasi, their normal starting point guard from Paris. Manning stays in the game and pulls up from the foul line. He's good.
And you see some three-quarter pressure from Southern trying to expose.
Claude finds himself in trouble.
Dribbling deficiencies.
Well, USC beats it, Seth. Corner three for Abo.
That's what you want to do. You don't want to...
Jacobs, he's off the side rim. And a rebound for Thomas.
Michael Jacobs only started 4 games this season. You see this sort of uncertain ball handling from St. Thomas. Got the job done and got his guy Abo. They've tended to get off to hot starts, and Friday night, Southern went down 14-0 at LMU.
Cohen is fouled underneath. Well, something that's
on a broken wrist. He was 4 for 6 from 3, so they've lost that.
Overs in the last 3.5 minutes for Southern going into that media timeout.
Guys, you're not worried about individual foul trouble as much, but you're going to put your opponents on the line, and you're playing that aggressive defense as well.
Seth, that's where Claude feels most comfortable with her.
You have earned the ability, and by the way, he only made 24% last year at Xavier.
So are you maybe in his head he still kind of feels like the 24% guy?
No,
Is
man.
that the issue? As Yates takes one and makes it.
Yates can get going now. Yates isn't.
It's been a thing this year, even when USC has been up and down overall, they've consistently gotten off to good starts in games as Agee contorts himself. Excellent play by Rashawn Agee.
Nice finish, huh?
St. Thomas. This rebound for Derek Tesino, who began the game with the mask on, has now taken it off. We saw that with St. Thomas earlier in the season. He was having trouble with the mask as Jones leans in, draws the foul.
Nice baseline attack. Decision maker. And so Muss really likes the ball in his hands, and he especially likes the ball in his hand.
That was the first team foul.
What? 22 points here? That's probably not going to do it.
Cam Embry puts his head down. Good look. And Jones with the smash down.
Fantastic feed. AG got a little bit lost there. It's not just soft pressure. They're trying to create turnovers.
Thomas splits the trap, and then coming up on the baseline is Isaiah Elohim, the freshman from North Hills, who's gotten limited minutes.
Cohen is the only real center. There's there's not much of a point guard. You don't really have a pure, especially at Arkansas. And it's forced him to adjust and figure it out.
He's off the front rim with a three.
And this 13-day break is going to be really big for them to figure out a lot of this stuff out.
They are playing their best basketball of the season. Abo gets his third three of the game.
I mean, that's perfection. I feel like when I watch St. Thomas, I'm waiting for him to turn it over.
And now there's a giveaway. Barnes finishes.
He's just unsure of his ball handling. I mean, I know what the numbers say, but this is not a good ball handling team. That's why they're susceptible to the pressure. So even though they're up 14 here, it's not going to be safe against this team because Southern can spurt you in a hurry. 18 assists to 6 turnovers. So Muss is looking for some better ball.
Joe Manning back in there with 2 fouls. And Southern is now 0 for 6 from beyond the arc. Claude down to the post. Head fake, turning. Excellent footwork from Desmond Claude, and the man who draws over.
A lot of these guards that you see in college takes a couple of years to learn the perimeter. He can be serviceable. He's not dynamic. He doesn't go by you. A much better three-point shooter, so that makes you quicker, right? Because your defender has to come out and play on you. And more to the point, he's the best they have. So he's going to get his minutes and his reps.
He better be a good point guard this year because he's what they got. As Johnson flips it way up in the sky after drawing the reach in. It's going to be Jordan Johnson there.
I'm the word guy. The numbers, concepts, some fake.
From the field in a couple of games in a row as well. But they've number 21 Mississippi State on the road. The year before that they won at California. But as you said, end of a long road stretch in non-conference play. Long trip to the West Coast, losing to Loyola Marymount as Cohen finishes for 2.
Now they're down 2 of their best, basically down 2 of their top 4.
You would think that hurts even more when they play in units like they do. Big rebound from Jones. He got up there. Damari Jones.
That's a rebound, kids.
Still a lot of time left in this game.
I promise you, Eric Musselman does not believe this lead is safe. He's seen his players. One thing he talked about is because this isn't the quickest team, they're not. Yates did not play well against Oregon, only 1 point in 10 minutes. The next game, 3 for 6 from 3. So he's got confidence. He just makes too many mistakes.
Our broadcast location here. We get a front row seat when Muss isn't thrilled with something. As a foul is called on Cohen and DeAndre Thomas for 2.
Yeah, it's just, I just think it's a tough defensive matchup for Josh Cohen as Rashawn Agee is now.
I'm sure it's going to be on a matchup basis during Big Ten play, whether it's Cohen or it's
just a fact of life.
7-0 run right now for Southern to get this game back within 11.
I think they need to use that pass more against the press as opposed to the dribble. Look at these traps.
Foul called on Agee's attempt in the mid-post. Spread out their production so much across their team, it's hard to say, oh my God. Well, Coach Johnson learned under Lon Kruger. He played for him back in the day at what was then called Texas Pan American, now UTRGV. And someone on the bench got teed up. That wasn't on the head coach there.
Sometimes refs need rabbit ears. I don't know. I mean, he was standing across the court. I don't know why he's looking at is definitely a point of emphasis, but you see that technical called. They got to try to press that advantage here the last 5:40.
Coming off a game where USC made 32 free throws against CSUN. Pull-up jumper is good for Tesino. Catch there. Runley gets switched on to Wesley Yates. High post, Agee.
I was just going to say Abo's been quiet. Yep.
Well, not quiet for long.
There you go. Ring it up, young fella. Ring it up.
A lot more threes, as you're noting there, than anyone else on the team. We were talking, too. There's an interesting stat where apparently he's a lot better on contested threes, or at least more comfortable than on open threes, as a foul is called there on the Tesino shot.
He's got a COVID year. He's got 3 teams. It's college hoops 2024.
A little better shooter, I think. But
He injured his wrist during the game. He was in some pain, and they thought he was going to be okay, but the next day an x-ray revealed the fracture and he had surgery, and they don't know when or if he's going to come back. Nice.
That puts USC in front by 16, and that matches up with the 16 points from Chibuzo Abo as Johnson reverses that one in. Abo feeling himself today, and he's got 18. Chibuzo Abo.
Well, off the bat here in the first 20 minutes.
He's one of those guys, too. He's playing in his COVID extra year this year. He's a freshman during that 2020-21 season. Derek Hezino swirls out, and a loose ball foul down low on the Trojans.
Please.
Because we normally hear from you more in studio. Do we get to hear arguably more effective?
Yeah, and I'm here.
I always get you blown up on, on X or something.
Oh, they love me on Twitter.
14-point margin. Now Nunley swipes it for Southern. He's going up against size, doesn't care.
This is what Eric Musson was talking about, not getting separation.
Yeah, it's back to a 12-point margin.
Abo's got a larger defender on him in that left corner. See if they get a pick and pop. Go screen.
At the end of the first half, Claude stepping with large strides. He gets the roll at the horn.
That's how you wind your way into the basket. While Southern is 0 for 11 after that 3 for 21 game on Friday. So if Southern wants to get back in this game, they've got to make some three-point shots because the opportunities are there with the turnover.
Abo, 18 points, nobody on Southern more than 5. Josh Cohen with the fake. And the
very left shoulder dominant, which I think is going to get exposed a little bit in the other end. And by the way, there is a fix for that, and that is to play zone defense. But Eric Musselman does not play zone. He's an old-time pro coach. He's coached in the NBA, the CBA. He does not play zone.
Went from Nevada at the college level, then to Arkansas, and out of USC. And his most recent stops. Good answer down the other end, though.
For factor here. So we got that 2-3 look from Southern. Didn't show a ton of it in the first half. Also effectively against the three-point shot, but you cannot leave Abo.
Here's Cohen in the middle of that zone. Another foul is called, and Cohen is...
How about that? Well, we know we came from UMass, but basketball is going to be a little bit younger next season.
Although we might start to see some of the...
Early in the game, he's only played 2 minutes with that lower back pain and hasn't come back.
Up top, Thomas looking for a one-handed throwdown. Cohen gets the highlight instead, and one for Josh Cohen.
I like the flex, Josh Cohen. I like the flex.
On the drive, Jones into contact, hard fall. And Amari Jones after the foul line.
And the contact is not going to hurt you. You're allowed to physically check a drive.
The big second half start. Thomas was quiet as a scorer in the first half. That's way up there for a guy when Noel has a 7'2" wingspan, but he is called for goaltending. Catch and shoot three. Wouldn't go for Chase Depron. Southern plays about 14 different guys. You never know at any given moment who's going to be in there. Over the front, Josh Cohen continues to rack up a shot. Manning in trouble. He got twisted underneath awkwardly. Steal going the other way. Thomas is fouled from half. It was more of Rashawn Agee's first half for USC minutes when you're in the game.
Well, there's an old expression. You stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
So during the game, came in without their starting point guard, Jean DeBlassie, And struggling against USC. A late call in the rebounding process goes against the Jaguars. This is going to send USC to the line for a 1-and-1.
Johnson is able to choose Josh Cohen.
US first inserted Bryce Pope, transfer from UC San Diego.
Line ready to shoot the free throws.
Well, I guess he was saying that because he got attended to by rule, he had to leave. DeBoll tries to dig in the lane against Cohen, and a foul is called on Cohen.
You really because they were looking at the replay. That's mine.
That's right.
It's not a 24-point game.
Well, USC has had their fair share of. Claude taking Ambery downstairs and finishes. Convert. Depron picked off by Cohen, hit ahead, Yates for allowed two.
AJ, this is for you. Are you ready? USC, Sharpie.
Pace to really ring in the holidays and the new year in style. On the ground there, and eventually a held ball is called after Thomas collapsed with the basketball. Since there are 13 days until that game, plenty of time.
Let's run the numbers. If anyone's watching out,
Michigan.
and 8, I want to say, for 11 transfers for USC. So probably not a record.
That the Michigan transfer doesn't get to face his former team.
Good point.
Catch and shoot three.
There it
Joe
is.
Manning makes the first three of the game, for this time with a head injury, and he got cleared last game. Now he's back.
2 Ivy League transfers on the team. Matt Nolan coming from Yale.
And a big follow by DeAndre Thomas, who played for Will Wade at difficult positions or something, and they film these challenges. I don't know much about it. I know you don't, Seth.
Well, don't act like I wasn't totally familiar with him up until an hour ago. Shows what I know. I just checked. Feel pretty good about it, but we're a high turnover team, but I just, having seen them in person, I think their ball handling is just unsteady.
And one of the teams that applies some good pressure, they've already played once and they'll play again, which is Oregon. They'll use it here and there as Jones leans in, and finishes. Jones stripped, and a good strip by Abo. Claude crossover blocking foul. And a double bonus here. It's been that way for pretty much the whole second half.
You need more than one.
His top 2 playmaking guards, Thomas and Claude, have a subscribe right now at Big10Plus.com. Off the dribble, Thomas. Rebound, Yates gets the putback. And air ball rebounded by Thomas. Thomas has come on strong. In recent games, foul is called on the floor. He'll get 2 free throws anyway. We have a new national champion inside the Big Ten. We've just gotten word that, sure hope so, but what a story though, just to give Katie in Wisconsin within the Big Ten, but Penn State ends up winning
to win the championship. I guess Tennessee is not in the SEC anymore. Did somebody file their papers?
Apparently not. Backdoor cut, Yates for 2.
Basketball.
And I think people were mostly aware of Derek Queen coming into the start of the season, but what's allowed Maryland to I would say, overachieve so far compared to their projection from what it looks like?
Well, one of the things that happened is they had another transfer who came in, Jacoby Derek Queen. His offensive moves are exquisite, his footwork, and he's got this sort of, Nowitzki-esque one leg in the air step back, and he's an absolute monster on the glass, and he's ready to play every game. I mean, his maturity level, and frankly, with all due respect, someone with his body type, you wonder. And so I think it's an A.J. Hogarth transferred to Vanderbilt, so it's been a little bit of a growth process for them, but Jace Richardson getting healthy as a freshman. And Xavier Booker, by the way, a big-time recruit who basically couldn't get off the bench last year. I mean, they lost all the good teams. You lose to Alabama, and so they're finding their way.
Pope nails a three, and USC expanding the lead. So you're saying don't panic based.
Lots of men's hoops. That was the one I was looking forward to watching the most, the one that my teenage sons were looking forward to watching, and it was the best game of the day.
Says a lot. Good finish inside by Jordan Johnson. Well, Juju Watkins, 25 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. That stat line, it was the first time against a top 5 power conference team on the road that someone had that stat line in 15 years. Juju Watkins had yesterday as a reverse layup is in for Slackert.
Nice pass. Slackert and Pope getting some nice minutes here. This is something they can build on. Eric Musselman's bench has gotten a little smaller here of late, partly because of the Williams injury.
Big jump stop. Jones converts.
To stop her. Like, I would just put 5 players on her and make someone else beat you. And she'd still get her 20. What a gift.
By the way, speaking of matchups against Michigan, is Slack.
A lot of people thought that maybe with Caitlin Clark leaving college, she's on track, I believe, to break Caitlin Clark's all-time scoring record. Wow. I think they found something in that Oregon game in terms of how locked in they have to be, how hard they have to play. And so I was curious. Look, let's be honest. It's a Sunday, 1 o'clock tip. There's a lot going on. The holidays are coming up, 13-day break. An opponent you know you should beat, an opponent that just got dominated by Loyola Marymount. So I was just curious how ready they would be to play, and I've been impressed. They were ready at the tip. They really haven't let up mentally. Everyone seems pretty locked in. St. Thomas is having a good time. He's chirping at the bench a little bit. He may get whistled on that, but good day for USC, and I think the break is coming at a good time. 13 days, practice, get back in the lab, get healthy.
Slackert in transition. Elohim. Another free throw line trip. USC is 25 for 31. They've got
Danny Wolf doing their damage on the inside, but they're not as good of a rebounding team. Quickness, timing, and toughness. So there's lots of ways to skin a cat out here.
On that. When I looked at Michigan's roster going into the season, I did not necessarily think that Danny Wolf was going to have the season he was going to have. I don't know if a lot of people did, but how has that worked with the 2 7-footers?
Well, they're both basketball players, so even though that they're tall, they can dribble, pass, and shoot. Familiarity. Michigan's a little bit suspect in terms of their guard play. Trade USC, I think, is going to be absolutely crucial for USC that they take care of the ball.
Patton flies in. Couldn't convert on the interior with 90 seconds left to go. Well, you know, USC has not really taken care of the ball all that well today, despite the blowout victory. They're up at 15 turnovers in this game, and they made them you love. After seeing them in person, obviously, second half, take it all with a grain of salt.
You know, the defenses are going to get better, and they're going to get scouted, and so they're going to have to
game situation with their reserves in.
I think they need to find a second three-point shooter, Abo, and a second primary ball handler to Desmond Clark.
Patton destroys that Nunley attempt. Stepping in, Elohim, the freshman from North. His dad Muss, even at home.
Well, I know that Mrs. Muss is the queen of that castle, so.
That's Danielle. And a final score for the Muss Bus, 82-51, the victory over Southern today to wrap it up in non-conference play. Seth, your final thoughts in this one?
Good game for USC. They did not take their opponent